Hey guys, anybody's got any questions for me, just put them in the comments, I'll see them. There might be a little bit of lag. Good morning, everybody, and happy Sunday. Coach Castle here to answer your questions, live coaching style, anything related to nutrition, exercise, respiratory health, supplements, biochemistry, sleep, steroids, I mean, you name it. I'll do the best I can. If I don't know the answer, I'll just let you know and I'll get back to you or make a video if the question's good enough anyways. Just any questions you guys have, put them in the live chat and I'll get right to them as soon as I see them. Just so you guys are aware, there are time lags and stuff, and sometimes, so just if I don't get right to your question, I just haven't seen it yet, that's all. Any questions for me, guys? Any way I can help you improve your lives or your training in any way, just let me know. I'd love to help. I'll be here until about 12 o'clock, everybody. Oh, and just in response to the people who don't get notified when I go live, I would apologize, as I only have about 700 subscribers. It doesn't notify all my subscribers. It only notifies like 20 or 50 or something. Sorry about that. But once I get over 1,000 subscribers, everybody will be notified and all my stuff will be seen by more people as well. Oh, there we go. Hey, Bobby, how you doing? Good to see you again. How much vitamin D do I recommend daily? It actually depends on the person. So just, I guess, pretty simple rule of thumb is you can't really take too much vitamin D, I mean, without really trying, put it that way. Most people don't get enough, just generally. I know you absorb it through your skin through sunlight, but there's actually specific times of the day where you'll be able to absorb the vitamin D, and other times of the day you'll be absorbing either none or a lot less. That's why it's best just to take it in pill form. And the simple answer would be between 5,000 and 15,000 IEs. But again, you can take more. I take more myself. I take 20,000 every single day. A lot of reasons for that. Without getting too much into it, it's just an extremely important vitamin, especially for men, as it helps a lot with your hormone regulation and production, as well as body repair too. And I should also mention that lots of pills like the vitamin D and the fish oil and all those kinds of capsules, you're better off to keep them inside of the refrigerator, by the way. They do actually keep longer, unless you have really big, small bottles. I mean, you go through them really quick. Hey Magnus, how you doing, bud? You guys got any questions for me about training or anything? Just let me know. I'm happy to help. anything about exercise or biomechanics or sports or your breathing, nutrition, diet, supplementation, sleep cycles, sleep habits, circadian rhythms, ultradian rhythms, any of the stuff that I talk about, guys. It's a lot of stuff, but just about if you have a question, I should be able to give you some kind of an answer for it. Hopefully, I'm not Google, but I'll do my best. I'm happy to see everybody here. And just a reminder, once I get over 1,000 subscribers, everybody will be notified. This Sunday Live will be much more exciting. There'll be more than 20 people able to participate at a time, and we'll have much more lively chats, I suspect. But for now, I'll be able to help the people who at least tune in, knowing it'll be popping up. I've had a lot of complaints from people who say that they don't get notifications and they'd like to tune in, and et cetera, but there's nothing I can do about it at the moment. Oh, I should mention, by the way, new little tidbit for you guys. For those of you who have been following me for a while, you guys know I was a chef for 16 years. I did everything from fine dining all around the world, Michelin star restaurants, had 2 fine dining restaurants. I did fine dining catering, did all kinds of stuff. I did meal prep, I did wedding cakes, the works. But long story short, I'll be taking all that knowledge and I'm making 2 books right now. One of them is a recipe cookbook for bodybuilders, so it's like good tasting bodybuilding food, which is very low calorie and high in protein, high in minerals and vitamins, and very easy to prepare. And the other one is going to be a 5-minute meal cookbook for bodybuilders and athletes, basically explaining in very simple detail how to make amazing meals literally in 5 minutes or less on a daily basis, because so many people are pressed for time and they don't know how to cook. So those are 2 new projects I'm working on for you guys. As well as this new set of exercise flashcards, new video series. I got a couple fun podcast guests coming up I'll be interviewing. A new article I'm writing, a few new fun videos for the Arguments for Intelligent Exercise series, a few more videos for ego lifting versus biomechanics coming up I've been working on. And all in all, just a bunch of fun new stuff. I got a lot of new projects coming up, just like to keep you guys aware of everything. And just so y'all know what's going on. Just a reminder, I'll link it in the description to this video, but all the things I'm talking about, my books, my recipes, my calendars, my fitness trackers, my planners, all these things are all in my Etsy store. I'll link it in the description below. Everything there is like $1. It's like $1 or $5. One of my books is $20, but to be fair, it took me like 6 years to write it. It's a lot of information. There we go. So, when excluding compound exercises from our training, aren't we missing out on intermuscular coordination, especially for athletes? No. So that's an excellent question. I get this question all the time. So I'll try to keep you a real simple answer here. So the body knows what to do, regardless of whether you're doing a compound movement or not. What you're referring to is a neurological skill set. So that is an athlete learning a specific neurological pattern. So an example would be throwing a ball or kicking a ball, but like kicking a ball with the intent of accurately aiming it. In order to do this, you'll need to learn a lot about basically vectors, or how much force you're applying to the ball, where the ball strikes your shoe, where on the ball you strike with your shoe, how high the arc or the apex of it is, and then you can calculate where it lands. Now, these are all neurological movements that you need to learn by practicing these specific movements over time. But in terms of sport-specific performance, those are neurological movements. Those are not, you have to do compound movements for them. Now, there's few exceptions to this. I can think of quite a few examples, but I mean, just real simple football players, I mean, they have to do a lot of movements which literally require them running forward and just slamming into objects. I don't know any better way to do that than running forward and slamming into objects with a heavy weight or some such thing, hack squats, etc., but with rapid fire pacing and things like that. Those are compound movements. Those are necessary movements. I don't actually know if you could get away with not doing that. And the reason for that is because in that case, the example I just gave you, it's It's a lot of things. They're learning how to breathe, how to brace at the same time as using their muscles, and there's no way to duplicate it without doing that actual movement. Just like if you're training a swimmer, you pretty much have to train that swimmer in water. You can't really train them to swim outside of the water. I've seen a lot of people trying to duplicate this, but it's obviously not the same as being in the water due to the forces and everything, the actual physics involved. It's not the same as being in the water. So if you want to be a better swimmer, you do have to swim. But in terms of, let's say, 95% of people, they do not require these specific movements. These are specific, sport-specific movements. These sport-specific movements, whoever's doing these sports, throwing a lance, the long jump, they will need to train these muscles independently, but then they'll also need to be training the neurological movements associated with the actual movement they're trying to do. So, I mean, there's so many examples of this, but I hope that answers your question. What do I think about Caradine GW50 1516? I took a 12-week cycle and it worked out great. I don't know that much about it. I know almost nothing about it. So I wouldn't want to comment. The little bit I know is anecdotal. I've never actually researched it, so I don't know enough to comment. The best I could do would be to send you to a gentleman I get a lot of my information from, at least where to find specific articles and stuff, although he's quite knowledgeable himself. His name is Dylan Gemelli. You can search him on YouTube. He's very knowledgeable. Search the compound with his name. Something should pop up. If not, then I would just recommend do your own research. But I mean, I just wouldn't want to comment based on what I know anecdotally. But I would say that what I know anecdotally is actually negative. So yeah, just other than that, I won't comment. Back to sport-specific training for athletes. Just because there's so many directions this could go. Athletes of any kind, they know what their sport requires, and if they just kind of think about it logically for a little while, they could think of specific training patterns. So an example would be a boxer. Typically boxers are training their cardio, they're training their endurance. You guys have seen the movie like Rocky and shit. How do they typically train their endurance? They train their endurance by going for long jogs, extended jogs, trying to wear out their glucose in their system, etc., etc., etc. You get the idea. They're training their endurance supposedly. But that's not an intelligent way for a boxer to train. So about 12 years ago, I'm not sure exactly when, somebody intelligent started training boxers, and they said, hey, why would I have you do long, slow endurance jogs to train your boxing fitness when you're doing minute-long rounds of high intensity? So what did they have them do? They started having them do high intensity, full body cardio workouts for 1 to 2 minutes, and then taking a 30-second break, and then again and again and again. So they were training them in this explosive interval training style, and it translated to much better practice, much better efficiency in actual combat in the boxing ring, instead of a slow endurance jog, which does not translate efficiency. So again, it would really depend on the sport, but you just have to kind of think about what it is and how you should train accordingly. But the actual biomechanically correct movements will train your muscles. Your muscles' only jobs are to pull the bones or the levers together, and they will do that regardless of whether they've been doing a compound movement or an isolated movement. It makes no difference whatsoever to the muscles. They just know they have to pull bones together. You don't have to ever squat. I mean, anecdotally, just myself, I have only been using the correct biomechanical exercises for give or take 6 to 7 years now. I'm not sure an exact time, but 6 to 7 years. In that time, I've gained anywhere between 50 to 60 pounds of muscle. I'm not exactly sure. I have not used barbells this whole time. I haven't squatted. I haven't deadlifted. I haven't bench pressed. I've done none of these things. I've only done the correct exercises. Now, I know, without a shred of doubt in my mind, that if I went in the gym right now, I could go squat 300-400 pounds. I could go deadlift at least 500 pounds, if not more. And I haven't practiced these movements. Do I still have a good memory of how to do them? Yeah, because I did them for a long time, and I got very good at them. But it's not like I practiced them in 6 or 7 years. Could I still do them? Absolutely. No worries, because my body knows what to do. Its job is to move these levers, to contract muscles, which bring levers together or bones together. That's it. You don't have to train in a compound movement. In fact, if you want to get stronger at squatting and deadlifting, I mean, you'd want to be doing these movements and then training squatting and deadlifting with very light weight, but perfect form, and really focusing on your breathing and bracing, as opposed to trying to load more weight in that particular pattern. You'd be better off loading the muscle more efficiently. But that's my 2 cents on it. Anyways, it does get complicated. What is the best beginner steroid cycle in my opinion? Do you agree on the 250 milligram test per week instead of the 500 milligram all the way for the first timers? All right, so that's a lot. All right, so if there are other questions coming up, I'm going to have to ignore them for just a second because this is an important question to address. All right, so the first thing, your first steroid cycle, in my opinion, you shouldn't even think about taking it, steroids that is, until your diet is on point, you're consistent with your exercise, and you're already doing everything right. Like, you're not making mistakes. Everything's already been done right for a long while. And here's another caveat: you're over the age of 28, 29 or 30. Then, in my opinion, sure, start taking them. I won't get too much into details as to why I believe you shouldn't take them before then, but suffice to say your brain's not fully formed yet, and a few other things in your body are not really developed, and that interferes with their processes. Plus, I don't think most people are honestly mature enough to handle steroids at that age. Now, moving toward the actual steroids themselves. Number 1, if you're going to get steroids, try to always get them only in ampules. Now, an ampule is a glass vial with a glass top. The whole thing is a sealed glass container. You have to actually snap the top in order to open it. Now, these are the actual hospital-grade steroids. These are the ones I recommend you get. If you cannot get these, you have forced to get some underground shit. I mean, I would really recommend you test it first. And it's very easy to do. There's free labs. Just Google them. I can't remember one offhand, but there's free places where you can send a little bit of your drug, and they'll tell you whether or not it's legit or not. If you don't want to do that, the next best thing I could tell you is just take a little bit out and touch it to your tongue, the actual oil. It tastes a little bit like medicine-y. I don't know how else to explain it to you. It just tastes a little bit like medicine-y. You'll know what I mean if it's accurate. Don't swallow it, just spit it out. Now, moving forward, injection sites. Do not inject your quads. Okay, end of story. Just don't do it. I know people will recommend it. Don't do it. I won't get into why. You have plenty of other places to inject. You can do your delts, specifically your lateral deltoid. That's the triangle-shaped muscle that your doctors will typically administer it in. You can do your pectorals if you use a small insulin needle. You can do your glutes, preferred place. There's a bunch of places on your glutes you can do it. You can. It's fine. There's plenty of sites you can do it. But here's the next thing. When you're taking these, well, the only thing you should be taking for your first cycle is testosterone, number 1. Number 2, it should be testosterone cypionate, if you're able to get it, or ethionate, if you can get it. Again, one of those two would be preferable. Should be 250. Now, that will be per week, but that's not a single shot. What you should do is divide that in half and take 2 shots. So 1 shot every 3 days, essentially. This is going to keep your hormone levels stable. So a very simple way to think about this is if you take 1 shot on Monday, your hormones are going to go up, and then they're going to drop back down again until next Monday. They're even going to go below the level. Okay, so that's not good. However, if you take the 2 shots, it goes up, starts going down, goes up, starts going down. And so this is keeping your hormones at a stable level, homeostasis. This will prevent you from having most of the negative side effects, the acne and all these other things, because you're keeping your hormone levels stable. The next thing I will say is before you even start your steroid cycle, make sure you have your PCT lined up if you're coming off. Now, it's not up to me whether you come off or you don't. You can do blast and cruise. You can do a cycle and come off and repair yourself. Do a cycle, come off and repair yourself. That's not my business. But again, just make sure you have your PCT lined up for this. Your PCT should be some form of aromacin, like a Remedex or anti-aromacin. Again, doesn't matter what it is, but something. You need to be getting some form of, again, Clomid, prolactin inhibitor would be helpful. You may or may not need it. Now, these things, look up the correct protocol for however much you end up taking and however long you run it for. There's plenty of places you can just Google this online. It's very simple to follow, but just make sure you actually have your PCT lined up or your post-cycle therapy before you start your cycle. Make sure that you're pinning twice a week as recommended. Make sure you are rotating your pinning sites. Pinning is just where you're putting the injection. Make sure you're rotating your pinning sites. Make sure you are swabbing the site with an alcohol wipe. Make sure you're swabbing the bottle with an alcohol wipe. Make sure your hands are clean. Make sure you're using new needles every single time straight out of the package. Make sure everything is sterile and clean as possible. Make sure you know what you're doing. Practice on a piece of steak first. Okay? Take your time. This isn't something you screw with. Next, and finally, and most importantly, before you start your first cycle, get your blood work done. Find out where you are right now, and then midway through your cycle, do it again. And then after you come off your cycle, a month after you've come off, do it again. That way you know you've not screwed yourself up. Now, the reason I'm saying for a beginner cycle, the only thing you should take is testosterone is because you need to see how you can handle it. Testosterone is the most mild, the basic. People will call it the base. It doesn't necessarily need to be a base, but the base is testosterone. Depending how you react to it, you may never want to touch steroids again. Promise me, this has happened to a lot of people. You may never want to touch them again, depending on your reaction. You may be a great responder. You might have a high level of androgen receptors in your body, and you might be a fast responder. So you might take these and you might gain 60 pounds. I mean, it happens. You'll know as soon as the first month goes by, you know. The next thing I would say is just, I don't know if you're partnered, but don't lie about this to your partner. I see this all the time. I don't understand it. Guys trying to hide their steroids from their girlfriend or their wife. They don't want to tell them they're taking steroids. Well, why not? Why are you hiding that? Why do you feel the need to hide that? You should be upfront and honest about it. Who cares what their reaction is? It's your decision. If your wife wants to get fake tits or something, that's her decision. That's not up to you. You know, you can have an opinion, but it's her decision. If you want to take steroids, that's your decision. And furthermore, she should know if you are taking these in case, number one, something goes wrong. Number two, you start having mood swings and she starts noticing. She can tell you, hey, you're being more angry lately, you're being more, you know, whatever, bitchy lately or something. She can tell you, you can know something's up, you can correct the problem, or you can just be more mindful of your emotions. Now, really interesting one, article was just done about roid rage and stuff, but I mean, I'll give you the highlights of it. Long story short, if you're an asshole and you take steroids, you become a bigger asshole. If you're somebody who has never had any kind of power in your life and you take steroids and you get super confident all of a sudden, you're going to behave like a fucking prick. Okay, it's how it is. Now, certain steroids will affect you in certain ways. Now, trenbolone, we all know this one. I never recommend anybody take it. It's a terrible idea. But trenbolone is one of those ones which will actually ruin your life. It will really affect your mood. You can't really have a relationship when you're on it. You're highly mood unstable. You're angry very easily. You have little to no patience. You have insomnia. So because you're not sleeping, you have even worse mood regulation. I mean, there's a lot of these things. You take Winstrol. Winstrol is a common, well, I should say it's a commonly fake steroid, but it's also a popular steroid. But if you take Winstrol, it immediately kills your cholesterol. Like you're healthy, your good cholesterol is immediately crashed. It's zero, basically. Zeroed out right away after taking it for 3 days. So these things have serious consequences, and they're not something you fuck around with or play with. Make sure you know what you're getting into before you do it. Now, that being said, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I mean, I've done steroids myself. Quite a lot of my clients do steroids. I mean, everybody knows bodybuilders, athletes of any kind, The Rock. I mean, you name it, all these people are on steroids. Of course they are. So what? They're safe if you use them correctly and if you know what you're doing and if your body responds in an okay way to them. So, I mean, just be aware of this because so many people don't talk about these kinds of things. I've literally, just anecdotally from personal experience, I've had at least 2 bad cycles I can remember. And when I say bad cycles, what I mean is one of them cost me my relationship because I was completely unable to regulate. Just crazy difficulty with the emotional regulation, and it cost me my relationship and some friendships. And they were right to get the fuck away from me because I was behaving like a fucking lunatic. And they were completely right to distance themselves from me. But these are things that are not spoken about. I can't even begin to tell you the number of clients I've had who have had doctor prescribed TRT and the doctor doesn't discuss any of these things with them. He has them pinning once every 2 weeks, and their hormones are fucked up, they're super depressed, they don't know what's going on, and then they'll get really aggressive. And then they'll get super confident, and then they get super depressed and sad, and they get all fucked up, and then their dick doesn't fucking work, and then the dick works again, but the doctor doesn't discuss any of this with them because they don't keep up on medical literature. And that's just TRT. That's a basic TRT, testosterone replacement dosage. Imagine what happens when you start doubling, tripling, quadrupling, 10, 15 timesing the number of hormones in your body. Exactly, you start turning into a monster. But these, again, they're things that are not thought about. And something else is more is not better. Something else with steroids, just while I'm at it, more is not better. So there's a certain amount of testosterone your body can handle, and then once you go over that point, all you're going to get is negative side effects. So it's like the point of diminishing return. Everything has this, but it's there, and there's no point in taking more than this point. Now, the caveat to this is some people, again, are genetic freaks, and they have a high level of what's called androgen receptors, and they can actually handle this. They have a higher load tolerance, so they can take whatever they want, and they don't get these side effects. They just get better looking, they get bigger and fuller. These people are not the norm. These are the freaks. These are the 1 in a billions. But with the amount of people on this planet, it's gonna happen, and these people are gonna gravitate towards bodybuilding because they have those genetics. So they're gonna be favored from the very beginning and the very youth to be muscular and attractive. So guess what? They're gonna pursue it, and why wouldn't they? It makes sense. But anyways, moving on to the next question. Hope that answers. Sorry about the rant, but steroids is one of those things that really, it gets me. People's I don't know if it's steroids or lack of understanding about biomechanics in the gym, or lack of understanding about diet, which frustrates me more. But I mean, they all frustrate me. But anyways, Bobby, can you get equal benefit in terms of muscle protein synthesis if you eat all your protein at one meal versus distributing the protein over 5 to 6 meals? Yeah. We just did a podcast with Jerry Brainham, and we went over this. So I'll see if I can simplify it for you. Okay, so simple version is if there's me and then there's another me, and I get 1 steak and the other me gets 6 steaks, and I eat all my 6 steaks at 6 a.m. in the morning, and the other me, he is exact clone of me, and he eats 1 steak every 2.5 hours. Okay, at the end of the day, will one of us have had an edge over the other in terms of digesting protein or protein synthesis? No. So, no. And the reason for this is because, long story short, the 6 steaks that me ate at 6 a.m. in the morning, they haven't left my body. They're still in my body. So they're not in my stomach now. They're either in my large intestine or they're in my small intestine, but they're still sitting there essentially either being digested slowly or waiting to be digested. Now, the me who eats the 6 steaks every 2.5 hours or whatever, that first steak is not even fully digested after the first 2.5 hours anyways. That won't be digested for 4 to 5 hours, depending. So it doesn't even matter. What matters is that it's still inside of me, and it's still in a place where it can be digested and the nutrients can be accessed. The protein synthesis will continue to occur on a regular basis within my body, regardless of whether new food is coming inside of it or not, provided it has the food to draw from. I think that should clarify what you're asking, but just to be safe, take it a step further. Even if I ate all of my food for the entire day in a single meal, that's carbs, fat, everything, in a single meal, provided, I mean, in my case, it would be about 3,200 calories, provided it was all 3,200 calories, the correct amount of protein, fat, and carbs, I would still get just about, like we're talking percentages here, the equivalent of the same amount of nutrition and everything else that I would get if I spaced that throughout the day. The difficulty here is eating all of that in one meal. I mean, really. I don't know anybody who can eat all of their, well, I mean, I actually know like 2 people, sorry. I know like 2 people only who could eat all of their food in one meal. But it would be very challenging, I would think, for most people to eat all of their protein, carbs, and fats in a single meal. It's just not really applicable. Totally can. It's up to you if you want to. I myself, I actually typically have 7 or 8 meals a day. That's because I'm busy. It's also because I like to have small little meals. But again, that's me personally. There's no additional benefit to having these 7 to 8, 9. You can have 12 meals a day if you want. I mean, provided the nutrients come in. The only very small caveats would be, certain minerals and vitamins and stuff which are immediately digestible or excreted rapidly. But that's about it, really. High quality advice, thank you. Oh, you're welcome, brother. I hope it helps, man. Just take that to heart, because I don't want to see you get hurt or experience any problems or relationship issues or anything else just because of steroids. Because again, steroids, they're totally safe if you know what you're doing with them. Totally safe, they're very beneficial. Bobby, yes, that answered my question. Thank you. Oh, you're very welcome. Always happy to help, bud. I hope your training and everything else is going good. All right, what else you guys got for me? I have about 20 more minutes here ish. Well, real quick, since you guys are still on here, I'm going to show you this. This was my new 75-page plan, perfect plan that I put together. Anybody who wants a free copy, just send me an email. If you feel like helping out the channel, just go to my Etsy store, buy one. It's like $5, I think. That just supports me. But if not, just send me an email. I'll get you one for free. What this goes through is how the fitness industry lies to you. That's 3 pages. Then it's how to actually track yourself, meaning how to make sure you're making progress by tracking your body weight, body measurements, your breathing IQ, your resting metabolic rate, your cardiac ability, your current rep ranges, and your grip strength. How to actually do all that, very simple. Then you have 20 pages where I explain how exercise actually works. Then you have 14 pages where I give you the checklist for optimum exercise selection. So I go through the biomechanics of exercise, but basically so a child could follow. Lots of pictures, not insulting it, but lots of pictures. I know biomechanics is hard to understand. Then after those 20 pages, you have your exercise plan. Now this is a perfect exercise plan for anybody, be you a bodybuilder or a 90-year-old lady. This is what you have to do. The only difference is going to be your sets, your weights, and your reps. That's it, but it's all explained here, 2 pages. Then you have how to set up your home gym, upper attachment, middle attachment. Then you have how to set up the lower attachment with all the corresponding exercises. Then your calendar for your exercises, just cross it off every day. Then your calendar for your cardio, then your calendar for your calories. All you gotta do is put a little check mark every day. Then you have the flashcards, which show you perfect exercises for every muscle on your body to be performed at home or at the gym or anywhere. And that's it. Now that's just one of the plans I have on there. Oh, if you're handicapped, I also have the same thing, but for handicaps. So if you're in a wheelchair, I'll have those videos up soon. I'm working with Matt Morton. He is the natural handicap, Mr. Olympia, actually. He'll be helping me demonstrate these awesome exercises. And I mean, guys, it's not really a plug here, but just a reminder, all your little $1, $5 purchases means almost nothing to you. And it gets you some truly amazing information from me that you can keep forever in digital form. You can print out and share with everybody. And again, those tiny little purchases, they support the channel a lot, because all that money you guys give me, that goes directly into this. So I can make more stuff for you. I can do more lives. I can do more coaching. I can do more of this stuff. That's why I have it there. And again, anybody who wants anything in my store and you don't want to support the channel, send me an email. I'll be happy to send it to you for free, guys. We're all in this together. And hey, let's all help each other out. That's what I'm about. Last thing I'd like to mention is, guys, in the comments to this video, go ahead and let me know future subjects you'd like to see videos on. You can put a whole list if you want. I don't care. Take your time. But videos that you specifically would like to see videos on. And, of course, I have my usual series I do. But I'm going to start getting specifically into the physics behind sports soon. So the actual physics and planning throw, the actual physics in catching a ball, the actual physics and these kinds of, like using a tennis racket efficiently, these kinds of things. These are very well understood. I just don't talk about them much because most of my clients and most of you guys, you kind of want to hear my weightlifting and bodybuilding advice. But I train runners, I train athletes, I train MMA fighters, I got boxers, I got long distance runner, sprinter, a couple people in wheelchairs. I got everybody, guys. So just let me know what you guys want to see. I'll be working on it. Jay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm just always happy to help you guys. And again, the more clients I get, the more difficult clients I get, the more requests for videos I don't know how to make, the more I learn. I mean, making one of my videos takes a really long time. It takes a lot of research generally, unless it's something I can just casually speak about, like, you know, a lot of things I can casually speak about. But if it's something I haven't spoken about before, I got to buy a bunch of books, take a bunch of courses sometimes, and learn a lot about it because I don't speak about things I don't know about. And that's why one of the reasons I love getting new clients actually is because every new client has some kind of a new issue or a new request I haven't had before. So it just helps me learn even more things. I mean, I'm in the process of putting together a dance fitness class, but an efficient one. So you actually be getting a good job doing it. And it's just for this nice, this really nice lady I know named Diane, and it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. But it's something again I'm looking forward to. Didn't think I'd be doing that, but it sounds fun to me. I can't wait to do it. And that's how we should all be. We should all have a job that we love and brings us joy. And I love waking up. One of the reasons I hate sleeping is because I have so much to do, and I love doing all the things that I do. This has been true most of my life, except a few times I've been like working at a restaurant or some other thing, and I started not feeling so good when I went. I started not wanting to go to work, and as soon as I noticed that, I said, well, time for a change. I no longer love this. But with me being an online coach and doing all my lectures and my articles and my books and everything I do, it's just, I love it. My days are awesome. They're full of a lot of hard work. I mean, it's not like I'm sitting on a beach sipping a margarita, but I love all the hard work. I love the forced research. I love the forced studying. I love the pressure, the time constraints. I just love it. And I wish you guys could all get a job like that as well. Again, I don't really like to use the word job because it's not really a job. I mean, it's 16, 18 hours a day, but it's mostly fun for me. Very rarely am I like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do this. I mean, usually it's more of like my workout or a cardio session of my own than me not wanting to help a client. Who doesn't like helping somebody, you know, especially when you have the easy ability to help the person. It's a lot of fun. But anyways, sorry for the rant, guys. What other questions you guys have for me? Talking about myself too much. You guys don't give a fuck. You know what, guys? I'm actually going to shut this one down about 6 or 7 minutes early so I can get ready for my next client. So that gives us just about 10 more minutes, guys. And don't forget, there is a little bit of a time delay on questions. So if you're going to be getting a question in, you got about 10 minutes, and I'll try to answer all the next questions as quickly and efficiently as I can. No pun intended. Will the live stream be saved? Yeah, I save all the live streams. The only one I didn't save was the first one. and that's because my first live stream was a whole bunch of people who really just wanted to name call and insult me. So it was me trying to reason with these lunatics. It was kind of funny, actually. And them just insulting me, but I didn't want to post that. But this will be posted. Yeah, no worries. Have a beautiful 4th. Oh, that's coming up. Yeah, or is that today? Thank you. Yes, I'm not doing a barbecue on the actual 4th of July, but I'll be doing one this coming weekend. Complete accident, actually. I didn't know the 4th was coming up. I just said, let's do a barbecue this coming weekend. I'm shit with holidays. I usually know when Christmas is coming. That's about it, though. Too much work to do. But anyways, I hope you guys all have a safe 4th of July. If you're using fireworks, just be safe and go big or go home. But watch out for cats and dogs and shit. Poor little guys don't like those very much. I might start unofficially doing a few YouTube videos about how to have your pet lose weight, by the way. And that's just because I recently have a little fat Frenchie in my life who's overweight. So I'm helping her lose weight. I might use her as a demo to how to get your dog or cat to lose weight. What do I recommend for developing mind-muscle connection? That's actually pretty easy. Repetition, but repetition with light weight. So here's the simplest, most practical advice I could give you. Well, if it is practical to you anyways. Say you want to develop a stronger mind-muscle connection with a particular muscle group. Let's say your middle trapezius, because most people have a very poor, your middle trapezius is the one on your back, kind of looks like a butterfly. It connects to your shoulder blades, and most people believe that they're training it when they're doing rows, but they're actually not. So you need to do a scapular retraction, and the reason most people have trouble doing a scapular retraction is because they have a poor mind-muscle connection with this muscle. So most people I train, before I teach them the scapular retraction, I have them do the actual movement with no weight whatsoever. So literally just sit here, bring your shoulders forward, bring your shoulders back, pinch your shoulder blades together, bring them back. I'll have them do that in various positions, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times. I'll send them home, tell them to practice for 10 minutes at home. The next time we come, I'll put 2-3 pounds on the cables. I'll have them do another dozen repetitions. Then usually they got it. Then I'll add some weight, add some weight, add some weight, and then slowly over time they develop more of the connection. But it's very important to understand the actual anatomy. This is why I like to include anatomy in all of my videos, so you can actually see the muscles. That way you can visualize in your mind's eye what is actually occurring. When you're doing a lateral raise, make sure that you're only going to this height, because once you go past here, well, then your scapula moves and you're using other muscles to raise your arm. So you need to be able to visualize this internally so that you develop that strong mind-muscle connection, and it's typically done with light weight. The reason people have poor mind-muscle connection is because they use heavy weights. So it's hard for me to feel my lat if I'm swinging a weight and I'm only feeling it at this tiny conclusion of the movement. If I take my sweet-ass time and I slowly raise it only to the highest point and I slowly lower it, the entire time I'm feeling the muscle struggling. I hope that helps. Have you ever done a video on how to read nutrition labels? No, I haven't, but I'm going to soon. It might have been you. Somebody put that up. Me and Matt did a podcast about nutrition. It was either part 1 or part 2. And I mentioned reading nutrition labels, how they trick you, and somebody commented that we should do a video on that. I'm going to. I'm just going to pick a random day probably and just go to a grocery store for half an hour and just kind of do some random filming and random talking about how to actually read them. I'll give you a lot of different examples and I don't know, maybe some other stuff too, but I'll do it soon. I got a big list of videos to do, and just kind of as I have time, I'm actually pretty busy, as I've said. Lightweight, got it? Yep. So just, yeah, exactly. Think Ronnie Coleman, but not a moron. Just again, it's one of those funny things. Whenever I tell people my actual weights, I actually work out with, like my working weights. I don't care. I'll keep secrets. They're always astonished by how light I train. I mean, for my lateral deltoids, for my side lying lateral raise, I use 10 pounds or 12 pounds. That's it. That's the most my lateral deltoid can handle. But again, that's because it's at the end of a 36-inch lever, and this is a very small muscle group. Now, that's it. If I was to use a heavier weight, I would get reps that were outside of the range I was supposed to be in, or I would be jerking using momentum in other muscle groups. But because I know better, and I know that's not an intelligent thing to do, I use 10 pounds. But it just always looks funny when somebody sees a 215-pound guy, he's pretty muscular looking, and doing a workout with just 10 pounds. It's kind of funny. But I mean, it's just an example. My biceps, I'll use 30 pounds, 35 pounds. Not what you would expect to see me doing. But again, my like body mass, my body size, it's completely irrelevant. I mean, I'm 6'2". I'm very tall. I'm large and muscular, but my muscles are still only so big. And because I'm tall and long, I have long muscle bellies, and I also have very long levers. So this is how I train. If I was, for example, not 6'2", if I was 5'8", I would be extremely bulky looking, because I would, if I was using all of my current weights I'm using now, but a shorter version of me, I would be very bulky, very muscular, very stout, if you will, and that's because I would actually be a lot stronger, with shorter levers. It's all proportional. It's just one of those things. I mean, I have clients who start with me and they start with water bottles. It is what it is. You don't need heavy weight to grow. The whole heavy weight thing, it's just a misrepresentation, because if you're doing a compound movement, you're not loading the muscles with heavy weight. You're dividing that heavy weight into those separate different muscle groups. It's not the same. If I'm doing lightweight or a 10-pound weight, but it's at the end of my 36-inch lever, well, that's 36 times 10, 360 pounds being delivered to my deltoid. Again, this is the actual math, so it's not heavy weight. It's you want to have heavy load, but the load should still be within the correct rep ranges. What's my opinion on myonucleus training? I did 100 reps per day for 30 straight days. Resistance is about 30 reps per set, and about 3 seconds for it to be worth it. What would the benefits be? Well, here's the thing. I don't know if you know exactly what that is, but essentially it relies on the idea of getting a pump. And getting a pump is just really not that important for muscle growth. I've talked about this many times. Is getting a pump a factor? To a small degree, because when you get a pump, you're putting more blood in the muscle, you're engorging the actual tissue surrounding the muscle. There's a fascia tissue, which actually like a balloon. Think like a balloon that goes around all these muscle fibers. And when you're swelling the muscle, you're swelling the tissue as well, which causes micro tears in it and will give the muscle more room to grow, essentially. But it's so small, the percentage. It's just one of those kind of things that, while it's accurate, the actual difference is so small, I don't think it's worth the time. I really don't think it's worth the time. It's just one of those things that, because it sounds good and it is true, they can say that and get away with it, but that certainly doesn't mean it's going to give you results. I mean, there's a million things in the fitness industry that are in fact true, and they sound good, but the actual result is, little to none. But they can still say it and sell it because of that. Let's see here. So, I guess the only thing I would add to that is, perhaps if you notice benefit from it, and when I say notice, I mean make sure you're actually doing measurements and tracking things properly. And if you notice at the end of the month that your measurements have actually changed and you've increased in the strength, run the experiment. I mean, anecdotally, perhaps in your case it might work. I do not know. Just run the experiment. Why not? Just as long as it doesn't interfere with your fatigue levels or anything else with your regular training. Bobby, I can't get why you don't have 1 million subscribers. Bobby, that's me and you both. Man, you wouldn't believe the effort I put into these videos. I mean, I have like 500 and some odd videos. Most of the videos I put up take me a considerable amount of time to put together, especially the biomechanical ones with the anatomy. Those are extensive to put up. All of the information I present is stuff most people have no idea of. Like even just my revolutionary doorway gym, which every single person should have, in my opinion. It's $50 and you can train every single muscle on your body perfectly for $50, and it's in your gym, collapsible. You can take it with you anywhere. Nobody else has that. Nobody else explains that. Nobody else has any idea how to do that. But those videos have 300 views. Again, I don't know. My biomechanic videos, I couldn't explain it to you. I upload them. They're extremely extensive. They're much better than 99% of anything on YouTube regarding biomechanics. They're far better. And yet some random YouTube channel will just post themselves doing a pendulum squat and they'll get a million hits on it. I don't know. I could be doing something wrong. I've had people help me with my channel. I've done the channel myself. I've looked through everything. I got YouTube for Dummies. I've been all over Google trying to figure out what to do about it. There's either something I'm missing or it just hasn't been enough time to catch on yet. But I do appreciate it. Let's see here. It sounded like increasing the mitochondria amount and improved blood flow. Basically, yeah, but yeah. Thank you. We appreciate your effort. I appreciate that. Thank you. I refer to the 1 million subscribers. We'll get there eventually, guys. Just you guys can help. Every comment on my videos, even if it's a simple, good job. Every single comment. Every time you share one of my videos, every time you share one of my videos on your social media, every time I get a new subscriber, all of these things push with the algorithm to more people. Again, it could be things I'm doing wrong. Typically, when something's not working out, I mean, you're the one at fault, not anybody else. So I'm probably doing something wrong. Maybe it's the video quality. It could be the sound quality. I could be using bad tags. I don't know. Who knows? I'll figure it out. Don't worry. I plan on succeeding. Again, I'm a very persistent son of a bitch, and I knew when I started this YouTube channel that I was primarily going to get a lot of hatred, not a lot of followers, almost no compliments for quite a long time. My assessment was correct, as that's pretty much what I still get. That's why I don't read the comments on the videos unless I specifically say I'll read the comment on the video, by the way, guys. But yeah, I don't know. Just I'm going to keep doing my best. I'm going to keep learning and researching, getting more people on my team to help me. Because, guys, we got to get all this information to the world so people don't need gyms and personal trainers, so they actually understand how things work simply, so everybody can be healthier and happier, so everybody's doing better, so everybody's in a better mood, everybody can help everybody else, except, for the psychos. I'm not a naive little girl. I mean, there's a lot of fucking psychos out there. But if most of us are doing better and we're all trying to help each other out, and instead of building higher fences, we're building longer tables, world's going to get better. Right now, it could really use that considering how fucked up everything is and how fucked up everybody is mentally. I mean, people can't even fucking define a woman, for God's sakes. How much cardio do I recommend for maximal heart health? Depends on the person. Really, because let's say you're a 400-pound guy on the couch. I mean, your cardio might be 10 minutes a day, and that'll push your heart. You know what I mean? That'll push your heart plenty for a while anyways. If you're, somebody who long distance runs all the time, you're going to need a lot more cardio than that to actually, push your heart to that place where it's going to be healthy and growing. I would say on average for let's just say average individual, I would recommend something like just kind of trying to walk every single day for like 10 to 30 minutes at a fast pace. If you're a gym rat, same kind of a thing, except maybe more like 30 to 45 minutes, walking at a fast pace. Now, when I say fast paced, if you're having a walk outside, it should be difficult to have a conversation with a friend. If you're in the gym, you'll hopefully be on the incline treadmill, you will not be holding on, and the incline will be one which is difficult, challenging, but manageable. You'll be breathing hard, you'll be sweating a lot, but when you finish your cardio, you won't be like super out of breath or exhausted or anything else like that. So that's the best I could kind of generally give advice-wise, guys. And I'm gonna wrap it up for this today, guys. Just a reminder, thank you for all that you do, guys, because again, I wouldn't even be getting past 700 people if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you for that. Keep doing what you do, everybody. Keep doing the best you can to make your life better. And I mean, help who you can help, because that's what it's about. I mean, you'll be a lot happier when you're helping people than if you're just sitting there trying to help yourself selfishly continuously. You gotta take care of yourself first, but then help other people as well. Everybody have a great 4th. Be safe and stay on your grind. That's it for me, everybody.